Pranams to Ma. Greetings to everybody. Now we are doing a few videos on Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi. We had seen in the earlier part some leadership traits in the mother. Today, let us talk about true education. Very important aspect of human development is education. In our culture, there's a saying, Vidya Dadati Vinayam. If you're really educated, you are very humble and modest. But do we see this today? Unfortunately, no. Today we see that most of the highly educated people are very vain about their education, very proud that, we are so highly educated. Others are not. They look down on people. So we cannot call it education. We can only call it a degree. We can call it, like Swami Vivekananda says, a lot of information undigested in the mind. It's just lying. It's not made us a better human being. So when we talk about Holy Mother Sharada Devi, we have to remember that she never had any formal education. Even the letters which she would send to people were letters which were written by others. The letters which she would receive were usually read out by others. She had some basic literacy, but that was self-taught, not taught in a school or a college. So we say, oh, mother, she's not, educated. That is the usual feeling we would get. Who's this lady? Not educated. She never went to a college. She didn't get a PhD degree. Now, real education is what the mother teaches us. More highly educated than her is very difficult to find. Without going through the formal process, which we have called education today, the mother had true education, which we seem to be missing out, which we don't seem to be getting. This education, mother's true education, we need to emulate, we need to follow, we need to learn and practice. Then all our degrees become worthwhile. We might be highly qualified on a piece of paper, but our behavior, our thoughts, our actions and words will not sound like an educated person unless we have an internal education. We have an education which makes our entire being truly on the path of dharma, a dharmic orientation. So let us see how the mother's life, like last time, I gave you many incidents of the mother's life. We are talking about the mother's life, but we are not talking chronologically from her birth to, the end of her life. We are not doing that. Instead, I'm picking out a few experiences of the mother. By listening to these experiences, those of you who already know the mother's biography, you've read it, will be able to remember, yes, we did read it. We need to practice it. Those who are new to the mother, you have not heard of her or you have not come across her, then you can learn from these experiences and you can also read the entire biography to find out how these experiences are structured in the span of her life. This we need to look at, this we need to do at this present moment. Now let us start with, etiquette, very important point of being educated is the kind of behavior we have. At every point in our life, it is our behavior which tells us what is within us, what our thoughts are, what our ideas are, and what our attitude is expressed through behavior. Nobody can look inside the head. We only show it by our facial expression, our body movement, and various manners in which we behave. So the mother's behavior we have to see from the beginning. You know, whenever you see the mother, you find that she is totally unselfish. She is constantly giving and never taking. From her childhood, we find experiences of this. We find the mother playing, you know, when she was a small child, playing with the girls in her village. We are told that she was often the mediator in their quarrels. Look at her etiquette. She did not join the quarrel by taking one side or the other. Instead, she resolved their quarrels. She was a little girl herself, maybe 3-4 years old, but she would resolve this quarrel. She got married at a very young age. And when Sri Ramakrishna came to visit them, she took very good care of him, fanning him. She was a small baby. She was not grown up at all, because this was a time of child marriages also. So she was, you know, it is more of a formalizing where the real marriage begins much later. You find that she takes the fan and fans him. She gives water for, you know, his feet to be washed, because in those days you couldn't enter a house without washing your feet. The roads were muddy and that mud had to be washed off. These are all ideas which tell you about her etiquette. Sri Ramakrishna had a guru. She was a very powerful lady, Bhairavi Brahmani, who used to cook very food which was very spicy. Nobody could eat that food. Once she came to Kamarpukur with the master Sri Ramakrishna. Kamarpukur is Sri Ramakrishna's birthplace. And Sharada Devi also came from her village. She was a young teenager at that time. The people in the house, the sister-in-law and others, they would refuse to eat what Bhairavi Brahmani has cooked because it is very spicy. They could not eat it, so hot and spicy food. Little Sharda would eat it. Then when she asked, she was the Guru Mata, you know, she was the guru of her master. So she was like her own mother-in-law, she would consider. So how is it? How's the food? Little Sharda would say, oh, it's very tasty. Tears would come down from her eyes because it's so hot, you know, so much spice, so much, you know, chilies were there in it. But she would not say, she would not refuse to eat it also. Why? Not because she was hypocritical, because she didn't want to hurt this elderly lady. She didn't want to hurt a lady whom they respected as a guru. So she never, you know, she did not behave badly where others used to say, oh, don't give us your food. She would accept and she would see that the lady is not hurt. At every point, her etiquette is great. People would come to bow down to her. Before they bowed down in respect, she would bow down to them. She would show them real respect. Look at the humility in her etiquette. If people gave her small things, she used to praise them and feel as though they are the most precious gifts. She's not asking for gold and diamond and things like that. Small things. Somebody made a sweater for Radhu's child. She looked at it. It was just maybe a, small baby's hat and booty and all. She said, see how beautiful it is. I say, oh, mother, it just takes, 1 paisa of wool to knit it. No, no, you've done so well. When the light was hurting the mother's eye, Sister Nivedita made a lamp shade. It was only a piece of paper. She made a shade for that lamp. The mother used to tell everybody, see, my cookie, she used to call cookie. Cookie means baby, little baby. So my cookie has done it for me. Sister Nivedita was an Irish lady. She was not an Indian person at all. But she learned Bengali to speak with the mother. And she used to really behave like a small baby in front of the mother. So the mother had this etiquette, praise everybody. The words which she said, do not find fault with others if you want peace of mind. See, this is what she says. If you want, suppose you want peace. So what is real education? Real education is that which gives us peace. The second quality. I'm sure many of us recite Devi, Parayanam, Chandi Path during pujas, during Durga Puja. We have Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu. There you find many qualities which are mentioned. Many youngsters feel, oh, what is this Sanskrit chant? It doesn't make sense. But if you look at these chants, you will learn so much. So in that entire shloka, Namastasye, 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 Namo Nama, you give qualities of real education, a really educated person. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Sanstita. That is what we are looking for. So what is real education? Real education should take away our stress. Real education should take away our cutthroat competition. Real education should take away our, lack of self-worth. All these negatives should be taken away by real education. So are we saying that we are really educated? Are we saying that we have the qualities of education? Then we should have peace. So apart from this etiquette, we come to the next point, and that is the peace-loving nature of the mother. The mother had an inherent peace in her. There was in her a total quietness. She never tried to, project herself. She never tried to, get involved in various conflicting activities. She never did any of these things. In fact, where there was conflict, she would bring peace. It so happened once that in Belur Math, at that time only the old building was there, and the monks had one young man who was, helping them, working as a servant, doing all their work. Since he had a family, he had the habit of stealing some things. Maybe when he was cooking, he would steal some rice and things like that. Swami Vivekananda had a fiery temper. So he got very upset when this happened many times. And he removed this man from service. He said, you get out. Don't come back to the Math. We don't want a thief here. Now, who could say anything to the Swami Vivekananda? Nobody. He was the leader. So this man went to the mother, said, okay, only mother can save me now. So he went to the mother and he said, mother, I will never do it again. I promise. So on and so forth. So the mother knew there's a huge conflict in the mind of the person who has lost the job because he needs to feed himself and his family. There's a lot of conflict in the people in the Math, the monks in the Math, because they had to shout at him, they had to remove him, and so on. So peace was completely disrupted. The mother was trying to bring peace. Mother was trying to, show this, that it is possible to negotiate. It is possible to come to an understanding. So when somebody came from the mud, the mother said, take this person back. That monk says, no, mother, I don't dare to take. I'm a young brahmachari. I cannot do that. Swamiji will scold me. The mother says, no, no, you go and tell Naren that I have sent him back. He has promised not to steal, so he won't do it again. With great fear, they went back, walking these two people towards the mud. Swamiji saw and he was coming angrily. But one word of this brahmachari, that mother has sent him back, saying he will never steal again. Total peace came to Swamiji's mind. He says, oh, mother has said, okay, come, you start working again. He never doubted, he never, had any problems. We have the concept of Shraddha. So here we see the Shraddha, Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu, Shraddha Rupena Samsthita. The mother shows us Shraddha in everything. Everybody had Shraddha for her. They had, a worshipful attitude towards her. When Swamiji would go to speak to her, he would keep washing his mouth with Ganga water, saying, Mother is so pure. I cannot speak to her with my mouth, so I should purify my mouth before I go. The great leader, Swami Vivekananda. But what about the mother? The mother is so highly evolved that she had Shraddha for everybody. She used to treat these people as her own children. The master had told her that I have given you these gems as your sons. So you will get tired of hearing the word mother. Today, millions and millions of people call her mother. So the mother used to treat them as children, but she had a lot of respect for all of them. She had Shraddha. She had respect for everybody, even the people who were laborers staying in front of her house. She had respect for them. She would teach lessons from them. She would say, look at this man. He's living with a woman who's not his wife. So the whole world will say he's immoral. But I don't say he's immoral, because look at the way he cares for the woman. Look at the way he looks after this woman. Although they are not, actually married in a legal relationship. But you can learn good things. Shraddha. Shraddha for everything. Shraddha, respect for everything. True education. Now, what is our education today? That we look down upon everything. We don't have Shraddha. I find small young children in school speaking so rudely to the gatekeeper, to the ayah, to who must be, their father's or grandfather's age. They say, oh, I'm rich, so I can ill-treat the poor people. Educated people start ill-treating people who are uneducated. People who are well-established, very powerful, start ill-treating people who are powerless. You are free. Somebody has come to meet you. You make that person wait for 1 hour because you want to show that, oh, I'm very important. So we have lost Shraddha. If true education was there in us, not only education on paper, on a mark sheet or on a degree, we would all realize that these are not the right things to do. So when we chant a mantra, please have Shraddha that this mantra can change my life. It can teach me values which I can make my life better. And when you make your life better, others inspired by you make their life better. Our core inspiration is the Holy Mother. Following in her footsteps, we also become educated. So we have these 2 points of education. Now, the mother used to teach lessons of sensitivity and consideration. These are qualities of true education. Are we sensitive only to ourselves? We say, oh, I'm very sensitive. If somebody scolds me, I get upset. But what happens if you scold somebody else? Are you upset? You say, I want to make a lot of money. I don't want to share my money with everybody because they are stealing my money. So this way, we always think from a self-centered way. The mother is not saying that. The mother is teaching us that to be sensitive, to be considerate, to care for others is very important. Again, I will share an incident. Mother was living in Kolkata at that time. She had a large group of people because all her nieces, her sister-in-law, then all the women disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, like Golap Ma, I have mentioned already. We have Yogin Ma also. All these people also would form a part of her household. Disciples would keep coming, devotees, women devotees would keep coming, spending time with her. So she had a large household. One day she saw that a poor lady was selling blankets. One of the nieces called that blanket seller and started bargaining with her. For a long time, she stopped her. The mother saw it. Then the mother said, you should not bargain with this poor lady. You should not waste so much of her time choosing, because for one blanket, she's spending enough time for 10 blankets. Now look at the compassion of the mother. Look at the consideration of the mother. When we go out to the world, let us see how often we try to bargain with poor people. The roadside vendors, we always bargain. Can you bargain in a supermarket? Can you bargain in a, big mall? You can't. There you spend thousands without needing it. That is what the mother says. The mother says, you have enough blankets. You don't really need it. Buy it and give it to this poor girl. There was another devotee waiting. She doesn't have a blanket. This devotee, you give the blanket, but buy it quickly and don't bargain. Can we not take these lessons as true education? A vegetable seller comes to the house, we bargain. Somebody who's still selling diyas for Diwali, we bargain. They are poor people. They cannot afford to give a discount. People who can afford to give, we never ask, because there it is all fixed price. So these small things teach us that sensitivity to others, unselfishness, compassion, these are the signs of true education. Not going to a big school or a college, a corporate college, or a very well-known central university. That is not this thing, or a private university which is top in fees and top in faculty. That is not education. Education is who we have become. Have we really become educated by getting those huge degrees, or have we still remained uneducated? The mother's positivity is a sign of true education. If you look at social media today, you find that a lot of negativity is circulating in society. People are constantly being negative. And for one negative comment, there are a few hundred negative comments. I remember one of our Swamijis, very respected Swamijis, had put a post on Facebook. And somebody had written a very abusive reply to that. I could not keep quiet. So I said, please try to understand what is being said. That person started abusing me also. Then I realized that positivity is a part of being educated. That person told me that he's highly educated. I did not share what my education or what my background is, because that was unnecessary. But the way this person was being abusive, I could make out that all his huge education did not really mean education. So mother's positivity Again and again, we find, somebody says that, mother, I cannot touch you without having a bath. I cannot touch that water because you have touched it. I cannot wash my legs with the water which is touched by you. The mother says, this is all not necessary. It is not something which, you should do. Negative. What Swamiji used to say, don't touchism. Don't touchism is not education. Education is finding positivity everywhere. So an incident is there where a young girl, she did some immoral acts. Her parents threw her out of the house. She was a young girl, and she was thrown away from her house by her parents. She didn't know where to go. She came and stood outside the mother's house. She didn't dare to come in because she realized that the mother is so pure, the mother is so spiritual, but she wanted some, succor, some support from the mother. The mother says, who are you? Why are you waiting outside? Come inside. She started crying. She said, no, mother, my own parents have sent me out of the house. How will I dare to come into your house? I have done these mistakes in my life. The mother went, took her by the hand and pulled her inside. She says, my child, since you are crying, since you are feeling that you have committed a crime, since you have made a mistake and you are repenting for that mistake, then it is time for you to be purified. All your troubles will be washed away as soon as you realize that you have made a mistake. So in a negative context, she made a positive context. She gave this girl support. She allowed her to stay there. The girl recovered and she became wonderful. There are many, many incidents of such nature in the mother. Somebody came wearing a Gerua dress. To meet the mother, they wore that saffron colored robe. Saffron colored robe is only worn in our country by the realized souls. We gave great respect to the saffron because people who have realized the spiritual life, people who live a completely spiritual oriented life, they wear the saffron dress. Today, of course, in the recent decades, the saffron color has come for a lot of conflict. People are now very suspicious of it, but we should not be like that because nobody is allowed to wear the saffron. That is what we should keep in mind. So anybody who takes that saffron color and puts it on must first check if they are worthy of it. So this lady comes wearing a saffron cloth. The mother says, gets up and makes pranam to her. Because mother never wore, Sri Ramakrishna never wore the saffron robes. They wore ordinary clothes like people, but they had highest spiritual realization. So the mother said, okay, you are a realized soul. Who's your guru and all that? So this person said, no, I have not taken initiation. I don't do anything. I have come to you for, spiritual benefit. Then the mother said, I don't think you should wear this color then. Wait, the mother did not insult her. The mother did not scold her. The mother tried to tell her in a positive way. A sense of positivity came to this person who had made this mistake. Another story is there of, people who started criticizing their family guru. The mother said, don't do that. Your first guru is your family guru. Just because you have come to me, you don't have to please me by criticizing another person. That is not correct at all. In this way, there are hundreds of examples of positivity. If we count the negatives in our life, we will find that how important positivity is for us. So if we really want to sound educated, if we really want to be considered educated, Mother teaches us true education, positivity. Then you have, communication. An educated person, you can make out by the communication of the educated person that this person is educated, this person is highly cultured, this person is noble, because the behavior, the words, actions, all this tell us. Look at the way the mother can communicate. With the master, she could communicate. She could communicate with all, Swami Vivekananda, or as I mentioned, the closest, who was her first disciple was Swami Yogananda. He passed away. Then much of the later life, she was looked after by Swami Sharadananda. He was also there. The person who wrote the song Prakritim Paramam, Swami Abhedananda, which we sing every day in the temple today. Beautiful song. She could communicate differently with each of them. Then I have mentioned already the disciples. She would communicate with Sister Nivedita. Sister Nivedita learned Bengali to communicate with her. I have already mentioned. Sarah Bull wanted a picture of the mother to take back to America. Said, Mother, I want your picture. The mother was always, veiled. She had her sari covering up to here. Nobody could see her face. The mother said, I've never taken a photograph. What photograph will I give you? So she arranged for a photographer. They went to the terrace. The mother sat. And, with great difficulty, she removed the veil. You can see a photograph of her. She's looking down like that. That is the first photograph. The second photograph is what we see very commonly in our temples today. So communication. She had never done it. She was very shy. She didn't want to do it. But she did it for the sake of a devotee who said, Mother, I'm going to take your picture to America and I'm going to worship you. Communication. So the ability of her communication, we find, is excellent with everybody. The poor villagers in Jairambati, they would come and talk to her as though she was their own, because they would all call her Didi. Jairambati was her father's village. Therefore, she was Didi there. And everybody loved her. She would participate in all their troubles, in all their happiness, as though they were a part of her intimate family. She could communicate with the thieves, robbers. Once she was going in a forest, and there the dacoits came. She called them father and mother. She said, Father, I have got lost. Will you help me? She was scared. She says, I was scared. No problem. But her communication saved her. The dacoits became her parents, and they would treat Sri Ramakrishna as a son-in-law. And Sri Ramakrishna also used to treat this dacoit couple as his parents-in-law. Imagine, by communication, she could win them over. She made Amjad, as I mentioned earlier, Amjad was a thief before. But she said, he's a thief because he doesn't have work. So let him come and mend my house. Let him come and, help build the house. When he came, Amjad became a devotee and he became totally transformed. He became completely a different person. So communication. At the end of her life also, he came to visit her in Kolkata and she spoke to him lying down on her bed because he was one very dear son to her. Then we have, of course, balance, very important quality of education. Very young girls used to get married. The mothers-in-law would bring them to the Holy Mother and say, see, mother, she always wears nail polish. She always wants to dress up well. As a spiritual person, the mother could have said, no, be very simple. She didn't say that. She told the mother-in-law instead, why do you put so many restrictions? She's a young girl. Young girls feel like getting dressed. Allow her to grow up naturally. Many girls who were, very young, the mothers would say, we want to get them married, we want to get them married. Holy Mother would say, first send them to Nivedita school so that they get some education. An educated mother brings educated children forward. Education is not, going to pre-primary and primary. Education is what you learn in the mother's lap. If that education is there, all the crimes will go away. If a good mother teaches the children proper values, then do you think any boy will grow up and ill-treat a woman, abuse a woman, hit or rape a woman? He will never be able to do that because he learned the right values from the mother. No school and college can give this education. Education can be given by the mother. So the mother has a very balanced perspective. Okay, the custom is marriage at a young age, but first, little education and an all-round education. She did not say only like, today education implies only learning some facts. Even when I was in school, we used to learn stitching, we used to learn cooking, we used to learn singing, we used to learn playing instruments. Apart from that, we had our own science and, the social studies, history, English, everything we had. It's not as though we had lesser amount of knowledge. Today, no girl knows any of this. No boy knows any of this. I'm not saying only girls need to learn this. Every human being needs to learn all these skills. But are we teaching it? Then who can do it? An educated mother. The brother and the sister know all these skills. That is an ideal family, an ideal mother. These balanced opinions came from the mother. The mother would say, a rich person should give, show devotion by donating money. A poor person who has no money to donate should show devotion by giving prayers. So it is not only rich people who can give, something. The poor person also can give. What are you giving? You are giving prayers. In this way, she would say, women's education, she gave a lot of importance. She went for the inaugural of Sister Nivedita's school. If you visit Kolkata, you can see, those of you who are in Kolkata can see Nivedita School, one of the greatest schools today. The education is being given. This is the place where, the mother put, of course, this was in Boshpara Lane where the school started, where the mother went to inaugurate. So all these show us that the mother was truly educated in the real sense of the word. We need not give her an honorary degree. Many people now, great politicians, great social workers, are given honorary degrees by universities. The mother doesn't need an honorary degree because what she has is true education. So if you and I aspire to be truly educated, here is a model for us. If we can measure ourselves by looking at the educational model of the mother, the way in which she thinks and she behaves, then we will be able to be truly educated. Thank you and namaste.